So welcome back to another video, and we're back in Alan's walk-in freezer, which is his garage. Although you have put a radiator in for me because I'm always cold, as you can see by all my layers. And we're just going to follow up on today because you've had a Alpha. We got Alpha to sort you out a Alpha E-Tec, and you've installed it. So we're just going to run through some points about this boiler. Obviously, we sell these on Heatable. This is the Plus model. We currently don't list the Plus, but there isn't a great deal of difference. We are looking to list it in the future though, so we'll go through those little bits in a second, and you can give us some feedback on what you think on this Alpha E-Tec. Just before we head into this video, if you are in the market for a new boiler, then head over to heatable.co.uk, where you'll be able to get a fixed price to have a new boiler installed in your home in as little as 24 hours. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for the latest content as it's released. Okay, so like we said, there's two versions of this boiler. It's an Alpha E-Tec, but it comes in the E-Tec and it comes in the Plus model. So this is the Plus. Just to cover off the differences between the two, the internal hardware of the products is identical. So the difference is you get this flap, spring-loaded. You also get an inbuilt filling loop. The main difference of the product is the warranty. So this one you've got here with the Premier Pack and the filter would be a 13-year parts and labour warranty, which is obviously very long. If you bought a regular E-Tec, out the box, that would be a 7-year parts and labour warranty. With Heatable, because we fit so many Alphas, we have an exclusive deal with the manufacturer Alpha, and we get a 10-year parts and labour warranty. And that's the same as just buying this Plus. So E-Tec on its own comes with 7. If you bought the Plus on its own, that will be 10. And then if you fit the Alpha filter, it gets you 1 year extra. It gets a bit confusing, this.
It's not confusing at all, is it?
No, it's not. We're getting there. So this boiler, 10. Fit it with a filter, 11. You fitted the Premier Pack, which is the rear spacer frame. That gets you an additional 2 years. That's how you get your 13. But like I said, there's no hardware differences, so the performance of the boiler, the internal components are all gonna be the same. If I've explained that badly, then just contact your Alpha rep and they'll make it make sense for you. So you fitted the Viessmann last time, didn't you?
Yeah.
And then we thought you'd sold that or swapped it for a micro scooter because you couldn't see it on your last video. But it is still there. You fitted this now onto the same circuit. We've had a brief conversation about the boiler, and you said something quite interesting, which was you found this boiler better on heating, but not on the hot water.
So it seemed to be slightly better. So some of us radiators that are far away on this system, on the Viessmann, it took a little bit, it was struggling
to do it. Yeah.
On this one, because I've got valves where I can turn them on and off,
yeah,
this one heated it perfectly.
Right.
So yeah, this were definitely a little bit better. So I think that's because of the resistance through the heat exchanger.
Yeah, because the pump's the same, isn't it, I think?
I think so, but we'd have to have a look at
why it is. Yeah. And then this is a 28 kilowatt model. The Viessmann was a 30. Hot water, not as good on the Alpha than it was on the Viessmann. Hot
water is, yeah, the Viessmann's slightly better. This takes a little bit longer just to kick in as well to start with.
Right, okay.
Than the Viessmann does.
When you say the hot water's not as good, what do you mean? Do you mean it's not as hot, or it takes longer to come through?
It's sort of both.
Right.
This seems to take a little bit longer.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Through. So I don't know if there's like a little bit of a
delay. Yeah.
But I'll have to look into that in a bit more detail. I might do a video on that myself. And
yeah, I think that's got preheat, hasn't it, as well? I don't know if that makes a difference or not. I don't think these have a preheat option on them. But we were saying as well earlier, just on the Alpha boiler, because you hadn't fitted an Alpha before, had you?
No, so this is first Alpha I've ever installed.
Yeah.
A little bit different to what I'm used to.
Yeah.
But quite surprised at how good it was, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, because when we first came and we were just chatting about boilers and Heatable and your business, we were talking about our product line, and we mentioned the Alpha, and you were just a bit like, don't really know much about them. I've got a lot of experience with Alphas. as I was saying before we had Heatable, I had a different company for installing boilers, and all we used to do was fit these because we knew how to install them. They were really reliable. Price point was sort of untouchable. And that 13-year warranty has been around for Alpha for about 5 or 6 years. This is going back then. So it was quite an attractive proposition. So when I was going up against a competitor, like a premium product that was offering a 10-year warranty, they might be charging like £2,500. We could install this on the wall for maybe £300 or £400 less with an equivalent, or in most cases with the Premier Pack, a longer warranty. So for a customer, it was a bit of a no-brainer. When we started Heatable, and we were picking the product lines, I was quite keen on the Alpha boilers because I had a lot of experience with them. We had some contacts there, which helped, but we knew they were reliable. On the Heatable website, when you go on and you get a result, we allow or ask customers to tell us about their boiler that we've installed for them. So not about Heatable, because you've got Trustpilot and Google and all those kind of sites for that. It's just to tell customers about the product so they can give some like honest feedback. Generally, the boilers on there score about 4.5 out of 5 because we have a good product line. The Alpha, I don't think it's got a negative review. Now, we sell less Alphas than we sell Worcesters, for example, because a lot of customers want a Worcester. But the customers that have the Alpha are always sort of like happy that they've not had to pay that premium cost. They've got the performance and they've got the reliability of a more expensive product, because you would pay, not for the Plus model, so a regular E-Tec with a 10-year warranty, combi boiler out, combi boiler in, you'd pay around $16.75 supplied and fitted, and that includes your controller, your AD Pro free filter, your flush, installation, which is a fixed price, and the warranty itself. So it's quite competitive, isn't it? Obviously a Plus model is going to be more expensive because the boiler's more expensive to buy, but in terms of installing it, how did you find it? Because obviously the pipe order's not the right way around, is it? So, well, depends how you look at it.
Yeah, so the pipework configuration is non-standard. So like, for instance, Worcesters, Wiesmans, Baxes, they all have like a standard DIN on them. And this is different. Yeah. For me, not a problem.
Because you piped it from the top?
I'm piping it from scratch. So it don't make any difference. Even if it were below, it wouldn't have mattered because I'm piping it from scratch. Yeah. So it won't make any difference. Obviously, if you're going to take an old boiler out and replace it,
you've got to jig it around.
Then you'd have to jig it around. If you're taking a conventional boiler out, you're going to be altering pipes anyway, so that ain't going to make any difference. Yeah. So the only time that's really going to matter
is a swap.
Is if you're doing a swap. Yeah. If you're swapping something like a Vicera or something like that, then it'll be similar because Vicera's an odd configuration as well.
Yeah, it seems to be like, because these are made in Italy, so the Alpha's parent company is a company called Imigas, and they're like a boiler giant out in Europe, in Italy. We were saying before, they're like the Wiesman of Italy. To them, that pipe configuration must be standard. In the UK, I don't know why they don't just change it. For a customer, completely irrelevant. For an installer, we do get guys, our installers, who are like, I've got to change this pipe over. I mean, how long would it take? 10 minutes, 15 minutes maybe to muck around? It's not massive.
It could be an issue if, for instance, you've got a lovely nice alt pipes coming down and
in a worktop maybe.
Crossing them over, and could be a little bit of it could be an issue. Yeah. But obviously that'd be something you decide when you're going to get the boiler. Yeah,
you've got to overcome it. And they do sell a pre-formed pipe kit, don't they?
Yeah, they do, yeah.
So if you're installing, you can't be bothered forming or bending your copper, then you can get this pre-formed pipe and it just goes straight on. So pipe configuration potentially a bit tricky. PRV and condensers combined.
Yeah, that's really good.
Really good on that boiler. Yeah, it's the same as a Wiesman, isn't it? That. Yeah. So one less hole through the wall.
Wiring's really good.
Right.
It's got on front. It's got alt wiring. It's just a flap that comes off. Yeah. You wouldn't need to be in the combustion case for that. Okay. So like an electrician could wire that. Yeah. Yeah, and that's just really, really easy
to get into. And it's just, obviously, with this boiler, we would supply a standard EPH Common Pack 4. So that would just be your switch live, wouldn't it, going in straight into that. And then you've got a Nest and a Hive as an upgrade, or a Tado, so all those are compatible. Alpha do their own control, don't they, which pops in there.
Yeah.
So I think on the early ones before Boiler Plus, that would be a clock. Now it's a bit like, what's the other boiler? Is it Baxit does that, where they pop out, or Ideal?
Old Platinums used to do that.
Yeah, so it pops out and it puts it in, and then that's your receiver. Do you have to wire that receiver, or does it just go, you just plug and play?
You'd have to wire it into there. There's some like
tails
that you just pull off
right.
and connect on.
And then that gives you the Alpha control. So they do one called the Alpha Easy, which isn't very easy, I don't think. I'll get shot for that. But they have got a smart control out.
I have got that.
Have you?
Yeah.
It's actually quite good, to be honest. We've got one in the office. We've been playing around with it. They're about, God, Brendan's going to kill me. I think they're about 70 quid to buy, something like that. But again, if you're not that comfortable with wiring, you can just pop it straight in there. It's the clock's wireless, it's on batteries, and it's nice and easy to use. Obviously, control panel, you can separate the control of the heating temperature, the hot water temperature. You have this little part, very Italian. You've got a martini glass. Oh no, it's not, it's a brolly, sorry.
Snowman?
Yeah, but there is a brolly as well, that's summer and winter.
It's going to rain. Oh yeah, that looks like it's going to rain, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. So it's supposed to be a beach brolly. So essentially that is, in summer, you can press that button and it just has hot water. I don't quite know why that's a thing. Reset, probably shouldn't need to do that, not very much. Pressure gauge on the front, nice and easy. Yeah. So you can imagine a non-plus model looks like that. You've just not got this flap on it, and your filling loop is built in, which it's a bit of a bonus, isn't it? Because it's going to be brass in it.
It's really good as well because it's just there.
Oh, is it? Right, okay.
So, obviously, it might be actually better without that flap.
Because you can see it.
Because you could see that, and
yeah.
So, yeah.
You just drill a hole in it. Then you've got, I'm trying to think what else. Oh, this is always quite good. Obviously, we used to service and maintain these boilers for Alpha as well. Because we fitted a lot of them, we used to do some repairs for them and some servicing as well. So we spent a lot of time working on them. You can top up the vessel externally and just pump it up on this, and they were always quite easy to work on.
The depth of this as well, if you wasn't using the standoff kit.
Yeah, it's about 280 deep, isn't it? Something like that.
It's really, really small.
Bit wider than normal boiler. It's 440 wide, I think.
That's probably not going to matter though, is it, with a cupboard? Because the cupboard's going to be 500 minimum anyway.
Yeah. So there would be a cupboard fit boiler. Like Alan said then, if you've got the frame, it's going to make it, 50mm deeper, isn't it?
I don't think it'll fit in a cupboard then.
No. So the only reason you have the frame, just in case you're wondering what that is most boilers, I'd say from our experience, 90% of boilers, the pipes come from the bottom, which means there's no requirement for pipes to go behind the boiler. If the pipes come from the top and drop behind the back of your boiler, you need this spacer frame. Now on Heatable, you wouldn't pay any more for that, we would cover the cost of it, but it does alter the overall depth of the boiler. On Worcester boilers, you don't need that frame, do you? Because they've got channels built in, which is quite handy really. Viessmann, Alpha, Ideal, they all need a frame to stand them off. So that obviously does send the depth out a little bit, so it's just something to watch out for. And then efficiency wise and performance wise, this comes in 3 different kilowatts. I could make this really confusing now, but I'm not. Let's just use the Plus model. You've got 28 kilowatts, that's the most popular one that we would sell because it's going to give you enough hot water to do a shower, a couple of taps in your house, obviously not at once, and you could have probably 15 rads on it, 14 rads on it. 33 kilowatt is the next one up, so slightly higher hot water flow rate, a bit more powerful on central heating, and then they've just done a 38.
All right.
So 38 is, I haven't got the actual number to hand. It's a lot of water anyway, put it that way. It's very powerful. You can only get the 38 in the Plus model though, so you can't get it in the non-flappy one. The other thing on these as well, which might throw some guys, is when you analyse these at the start, they go mental. and you'll think, oh my God, this boiler's broke, what's going on with it? I've never seen those readings before. It then calms down. If you look at your MIs, that is within its scope, it's supposed to do that. But I know, again, at Heatable, if I'm in the technical room and we've got guys out fitting them, we sometimes get a phone call saying, there's something wrong with this, I don't know what's going on, it's analysing crazy, and it always calms down, and it is within range on the book. It's just the way Alpha do it. So to be honest, a quick summary on that boiler. Obviously what we'll do now, we'll take the cover off it, we'll have a little look inside and show you some of the components of this Alpha E-Tec. Okay, so we've taken the front cover off and the side panels because we were having a bet on the size of the expansion vessel, but we don't actually know, do we? You think it's 8, I think it's 10. We'll split it at 9. So inside this boiler now, first things first, stainless steel heat exchanger. So you wouldn't normally see that with a
budget boiler.
Budget boiler. So stainless steel heat exchangers, stuff like Viessmann's, Ideal, Vogue's, some Bax's, yeah. Stainless steel, a little bit more robust, and generally will outlive the rest of the boiler. You also mentioned something about this being a single
coil, yeah.
Coil.
Continuous coil, yeah. So less chance of it blocking up.
Right, okay. So if you've got like poor water quality, or if the boiler's not been serviced maybe for a long time.
So some of the, for instance, Valence, Bax's, because they have a...
All the boilers we don't sell, yeah.
They have a multi-pass heat exchanger on them.
Yeah, not great.
Which are stainless steel. But once they start to block up, you can't flush them out very easily.
Why is that?
Because if you try to flush it, it'll go around the coil that's clear.
Least resistance.
It won't go around the coil that's blocked. Whereas with this, because it's one continuous coil, then if you start to try to flush this
in one out one over,
in one out over,
yeah.
And there's less resistance. This actually, it looks actually better than the Viessmann because there's less resistance on it. Right. If you look at a Viessmann, they have the sharp elbows on them.
As it enters in.
Brass elbows.
Yeah.
These don't have that.
So maybe that's why it was heating up your radiators a bit quicker.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then pump, that's pretty much a standard. I mean, it's a premium pump, it's a Grundfos pump, but again, you wouldn't normally see that sort of quality of pump in a boiler at this price point, because obviously don't forget, hardware inside of this, same as the E-Tec Plus or the E-Tec. I think you can pick up an E-Tec at a merchant 600 quid including VAT, something like that, 550 quid. Gas valve is Honeywell, or Residio as they're now called. Same as the...
I think that's the same that's in the Vogue, or it looks very similar.
Right, okay.
And obviously Vogue is Ideal's top boiler.
Yeah, on this boiler's predecessor, which was called an Eco, I think, or an Intec, we did have an issue in the north of England with the previous gas valve, and it was something to do with they put an additive in northern gas and it was fine in the south, but used to knock out these gas valves.
Well, the gas adaptive?
I don't know, yeah, something like that. That sounds about right.
So that's like what Baxi had? They had loads and loads of problems?
Well, it was the same gas valve as a Baxi.
Yeah.
GA, that's the one, yeah.
Terrible.
It's gone now though. They learnt a lesson there. My trick question was, I was going to ask you, which you wanted to know the answer before I asked you. You know when you've got a combined condense and PRV, how do you, I know it's clear, but you would never know if your PRV is passing, would you? Unless you've got a stethoscope on your boiler.
No.
It's odd that, isn't it? Obviously, if you, like, so basically, if your boiler's losing pressure at home, one of the places it can lose pressure is via the pressure reducing valve, which is, I won't empty it.
Pressure relief valve, not reducing.
Yeah, okay. Cynic. And it can pass water outside and that drops your system pressure. If you've got like a Worcester, you'll see the water physically outside, won't you, returning against your brickwork, turns your brickwork green. And on this boiler, that pipe and the condense pipe, the wastewater pipe, are combined within the boiler. So if it does start to discharge through the pressure relief valve, then you would never know. You might hear it potentially, but you might need to get an engineer out just to say, if you're losing pressure, you wouldn't be able to diagnose it yourself. I don't know what that gains if you can diagnose it yourself, because you can't really fix it yourself, so it was a stupid question. Apart from that, everything else, plate on it, obviously.
It all looks really easy, doesn't it, to work on. especially in this. If it were in a cupboard and you couldn't take the sides off,
Yeah.
then you could probably take the condensate trap out. You can get the plate heat exchanger out of there,
Yeah.
and you can more or less work on all the boiler.
We had so we had an issue with one of these boilers where they changed the main heat exchanger. I don't know, I can't remember what the issue was, but the guy who did it we spoke to afterwards, and he said it was literally, I think it was 90 minutes for the entire heat ex to come out, which on a boiler normally that's not really how long it would take. It would take a lot longer, wouldn't it? But on these, nice and easy to work on, nice and easy.
It looks easy, it's only one screw there at back, and then that'll probably just lift out.
Any negatives you don't like about it?
I'm not a lover of the flue, just because it's a little bit like the Valent type flue. It's a little bit more faffy than some of the other flues, but it's not.
Anything else? To be honest, I think they're quite hard to bash, aren't they? Because other than the pipe layout, which is a bit annoying if you're installing it, the flue comes up every now and again. To be honest, we genuinely don't have any issues with these products. And
I don't know enough about it at the minute to give a real view on it, but my initial thoughts are it looks really good.
Yeah.
Time will tell. Obviously, I'm going to test it here.
Yeah.
Run it upstairs.
Yeah.
And that we'll see. But it looks good to me.
We've got a 13-year parts and labour warranty, so.
And I haven't even registered warranty.
Haven't you? You get your points. You can go karting.
All right. Okay.
But if you are interested in fitting one of these boilers, then I was going to get you a list actually of all the reps. Maybe you could post it on your thing.
Right, okay.
So if you're an installer and you want to fit one, you want to speak to a rep, you want to get a bit more information about them, then Alan, you can probably put that on your channel because you'll all have a go at us for it. And if you're a customer and you do want to buy an Alpha E-Tec, then you can go to heatable.co.uk and you can get a fixed price and have it installed. And we've given you some good information on the product. If you have got any additional questions, then ask them in the comments box below.